What's up guys, in this video we are going to be mounting a turkey fan DIY style. If you've never done one of these before, I think after you watch this video it's going to be something that you really want to do. This is the one that I have just recently finished doing. Just a few days ago we finished this one, but I thought it turned out pretty well. We're going to take you through the process of kind of how we did it. Obviously we've got spurs here, beard, and the fan. I wanted to add the shotgun shell as well too. This is really not that complicated of a process, and pretty much all of you probably have just about everything that you need around your house or somewhere close by you. I had everything except for Bondo. Bondo was the only item that I did not have laying around here at the shop. But besides Bondo, you're going to need a knife, you're going to need a place to make a mess, and that's pretty much about it. Some screws, a screwdriver, or a screw gun, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. So let's jump right into it. We won't waste any time. Let's talk about how to mount this old turkey fan. All right, so once you've got your turkey fan in hand, the first thing that you're going to start doing is start removing all of the meat that's left on that fan. There's going to be a lot of meat left on that fan, and I say a lot. It kind of depends on who you are, how you cut it off. I try to err on the side of having more meat left over on the fan rather than less when I cut the fan off of the turkey, just so that I don't cut off too many tail feathers whenever I remove that fan. So get the meat off of that. It may take a little bit of time, so don't be in a hurry. Try not to cut yourself, and just go through there and scrape that meat off as best you can. For this being the first turkey fan that I've ever done on my own, it was really pretty cool to kind of see the whole process and how it took place. I've got other birds that I've had mounted. One of them was full body mount, and I've got another one that's at the taxidermist waiting to be mounted now. But this is actually the first fan that I've ever put on the wall. None of these other fans that I've ever had from turkeys that I've shot, those have all went on turkey decoys and things like that. So I'm excited to put this one on the wall. Once you get most of the meat off, there's probably still going to be some fat left on those pin feathers. That's really pretty much up to you how much of that you want to get off. Some people say you need to get it all off. Some people say just get it off as best you can with a knife, and that's kind of what I did. And then I just moved on to step two. Step two, we're just going to put borax on these pin feathers. So once you've got the meat and all that stuff cleaned off, you're going to take borax and kind of pour it on those feathers. Do not skip this step. Borax is really important when it comes to preserving these fans, because it's going to keep them bug proof. And it's also going to do a pretty good job of drying out the pin feathers right there, getting all that grease and wax and stuff out of there that's left on those feathers. Once you get the borax on there, you're going to want to let that sit for about 15 or 20 minutes before you move into step three. Mine probably sat a little bit longer. I took some boxes with ammo in it and set it on top of that fan to kind of get it a little bit more flattened out. It was kind of, crunched up some from being in the freezer. So that's another thing that you may want to do, is let the fan sit in that borax, and while it's sitting, just put some books or some heavy boxes or something on top of that fan to help it flatten out. Once the fan gets flattened out, then you're going to move on to step three, which is probably the most fun step, I guess you could say, because it's where all the gooey stuff comes into play. You're going to get this Bondo here, and be careful if you've never used Bondo before. I was ignorant and did not do my research well enough, and kind of wasted a whole can of Bondo and ended up having to get another can. So when you get your Bondo, get you a piece of cardboard or something, cut it off, and take some of the Bondo out of the can, just the gray putty that's in the can out of there, put it on that piece of cardboard, and then squeeze that little blue stuff or whatever it is inside of the Bondo. Not all of it, just a little bit of it. Mix it up. That way you can only, you only have to use what you need. I pretty much put it in the can and wasted like half a can of Bondo that's sitting here hardened like a rock right now. So just be careful when you get to the Bondo. That stuff will harden up on you really quick, and it's a waste once it does that. So Bondo, get that Bondo put on there. Be careful not to get it on the feathers. You've got to be a little bit meticulous when you get to this point in the process, just to make sure that you don't mess your fan up. But once you get the Bondo on there and it's good and dry, then it's pretty much moving on to the last step. It really doesn't take that Bondo that long to dry either. So just kind of let it sit there, probably 25, 30 minutes. An hour if you really just want to let it harden on up. But once it dries, then we can move on to the last part, which is going to be mounting the fan. And this is where you kind of get to be a little bit creative. You can kind of do whatever you want to when you get to this point as far as what piece of wood you use, how you put your spurs on the piece of wood, whether or not you use the shotgun shell or anything like that. Some people only mount the beard, some mount the hollowed out spurs. I wanted to mount all of it, the full spur, the leg intact with the beard, shotgun shell, and the fan all together. And I had a good buddy of mine, Noah Russ. He used to play baseball for me when he was in high school a few years ago. And he had just recently mounted a few turkeys of his own. He had some wood laying around his shop that he was able to cut up, and he told me about it. So I said, bring it on over, let's use it. And that's what we went with. I think it looks very good. It's gonna kind of look pretty good when we get it into the house too, but I'm gonna probably come right up here in the center of it and do some form of a wood burn, something. I don't know what I'm gonna put in there yet. Go ahead and comment down below if you've got an idea for what we should burn on that piece of wood right there. But the first thing we did was take the centerpiece right here, put it on the front, and then I took another 1x4, put it on the back, and screwed the fan together, screwed the two boards together. Make sure that if you do something like I did, make sure you don't get a screw too long and pop out the front right there. But we screwed the two together, and then we took this longer piece, sandwiched it in between the two, and took a nail gun and shot it into this front board. And that's pretty much all there was to that. It was really not that complicated. We're just kind of looking at it and eyeballing it and figuring out what we thought would look the best, and then just pulling the trigger and making it happen. We took the spurs here on the back and used a nail gun as well, just shot those into the centerpiece board, I guess is what I'm going to call that right there. Shot them into there, spurs kicking out the side. We made sure to put the spurs on the exact right side. Somebody, when you do this, if you don't pay attention, you'll put the left foot on the right side and the right foot on the left side. So make sure you just use your turkey brain, get those feet on the right side. And then I took hot glue and hot glued the beard into the shotgun shell. The beard was like 11.5 inches long, and I probably put an inch inside of that shotgun shell maybe, and just glued it up real good, and then took a little bit of hot glue and put it down here on the bottom side of that shotgun shell, the back side of it, pressed it down tight to the board, held her there for a second, and then boom. She's done, guys, just like that. That's all there was to it. Really not that complicated of a process. And it was kind of fun to do as well. All right, and just like that, folks, that is the turkey fan mount, start to finish, done yourself. Obviously, you saw that Noah was in here helping me out. Really appreciate Noah kind of spearheading the whole idea, you know, giving me some initiative to go ahead and get started on it. It's not a process that's really complicated. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So get after it. Do it. If you hadn't seen the video of us killing this turkey, you can do that. Check out the video. It's in the description down below. And that's going to pretty much wrap us up for this one, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. And we'll catch you right here next time on Hunt More Official. Man, I tell you what, Jake. Hard day's work, boys and girls. And he's a hooker.